For 9 months, Marcus Chen let a homeless 12-year-old use his laptop at the library. 2 hours, twice a week, no questions asked. She was sleeping in a shelter, wearing the same hoodie every day. He was a CEO worth $180 million who couldn't stand the silence of his penthouse. Then his CFO called at 6:47 a.m., voice shaking. "Check your account." Now, $10.2 million had appeared overnight. From a company he'd never heard of. The memo read, "Payment for algorithm number 7749. Developed by K. Williams. Age 12. What this girl had built in those library sessions would expose a system that abandoned thousands of children and make her the youngest tech innovator to ever partner with the Gates Foundation. Drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Let's begin. 9 months earlier, Marcus Chen had everything except a reason to care. His company, NeuralPath AI, had gone public 18 months ago. The IPO made him $180 million overnight. Forbes called him the next Zuckerberg. TechCrunch ran a cover story, how Marcus Chen built a $2 billion company before turning 34. But success felt hollow. He'd wake up at 5 a.m. in his penthouse overlooking downtown Seattle. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A view that cost $2.3 million. He'd make coffee in a machine that cost more than most people's cars and stare at the city below, feeling nothing. His marriage had ended a year ago. No kids. His ex-wife, Jennifer, had said it clearly during their last conversation, "You fell in love with the company, Marcus." There was never room for anyone else. She wasn't wrong. So Marcus started working from coffee shops. Then libraries. Anywhere with people. The silence of his penthouse was unbearable. That's where he met Kenya. The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library opened at 9 a.m. Marcus usually arrived by 9:15, claimed a table near the computers, and worked until lunch. He'd noticed her the first week. A black girl, maybe 11 or 12, thin, wearing the same gray hoodie 3 days in a row. She'd sit at the public computers, completely absorbed, typing with a speed and focus he recognized. The focus of someone who'd found the only thing that made sense in a senseless world. One Tuesday morning in late February, Marcus was debugging code when he heard a frustrated sound. The girl was 2 tables away, staring at a frozen screen, hands clenched. He walked over. "Computer crash?" She looked up, guarded. "It does that. These are old." Marcus glanced at the screen. Windows Vista. A processor from 2009. "What were you working on?" "Just stuff." He saw the code before she minimized the window. Python. Clean syntax. A sorting algorithm that looked more efficient than it should have been. "You code?" he asked. "Sometimes." "Self-taught." She nodded. Marcus pulled up a chair. "Can I see?" Kenya hesitated, then reopened the window. Marcus read through the code. His eyebrows rose. "This is good. Really good. How old are you?" 12. "Where'd you learn this?" "You do. Library books." "Wherever." Marcus sat back. "I'm Marcus. I run a tech company." "I know. I Googled you." Her voice was flat, unimpressed. "You're rich." "Yeah. So why are you at the library?" Marcus smiled slightly. "Same reason as you. Better internet than home." That made her almost smile. "Almost. I'm Kenya." "Nice to meet you, Kenya." He paused. "Those computers are terrible. If you want, you can use my laptop on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm here anyway. Just for a couple hours while I work." Kenya's eyes narrowed. "Why would you do that?" "Because I remember being a kid who loved coding and not having good equipment." That was true. Marcus had grown up in a 1-bedroom apartment in San Jose, sharing a computer with 3 siblings. No strings. Just if you want. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity. I need someone to keep me company so I don't look like a lonely weirdo working alone in a library." Kenya studied him for a long moment. "Tuesdays and Thursdays?" 2 hours. "You can work on whatever you want." "Okay." That was it. The beginning. Kenya showed up the following Tuesday at 10 a.m. sharp. Marcus had a table in the back, his MacBook Pro set up next to his coffee. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded. He slid the laptop over. Password is on this post-it. Don't change any system settings, but otherwise, go wild. Kenya's hands trembled slightly as she opened the computer. A 2023 MacBook Pro. 32 gigabytes of RAM. Processing power she'd only dreamed about. What are you working on? Marcus asked, pulling out his tablet to do his own work. A project. What kind? Pattern recognition. For predicting stuff. Marcus didn't push. He opened his emails and let her work. For 2 hours, they sat in comfortable silence. Kenya typed with complete focus, occasionally muttering to herself. Marcus answered emails, reviewed quarterly reports, approved budget requests. At noon, Kenya closed the laptop carefully. Thank you. Same time Thursday? Yeah. She left without another word. Thursday, she was there at 10 a.m., same routine. 2 hours of focused work. Marcus noticed she brought a notebook now, filled with handwritten code and diagrams. You map things out on paper first? He asked. Easier to see the big picture. Can I look? She hesitated, then slid the notebook over. Marcus flipped through pages of algorithms, flow charts, mathematical proofs. His chest tightened. This wasn't hobby-level work. This was sophisticated. Kenya, this is really advanced. Where are you learning this? MIT OpenCourseWare. Stanford's free lectures. I watch them at the library. What grade are you in? 7th. When you go. Her face closed off. I go most days. Marcus didn't push. But he noticed things. The same hoodie every session. Shoes with duct tape holding the sole. The way she'd pack up exactly at noon, like she had somewhere to be. One Thursday in March, she showed up with a black eye. Marcus went still. Kenya. It's fine. That doesn't look fine. I said it's fine. Her voice was sharp. He let it go. But his hands clenched under the table. After that session, Marcus followed her. Kept his distance. Watched her walk 8 blocks to a homeless shelter on Pine Street. Watched her get in line with 40 other people waiting for the doors to open for dinner service. Marcus stood across the street, watching through the window as Kenya sat alone at a table, eating from a styrofoam tray. She looked small. Exhausted. He went home to his penthouse and couldn't sleep. The next Tuesday, Marcus brought 2 breakfast sandwiches. He set one in front of Kenya when she arrived. Ate breakfast yet? I'm not hungry. I bought 2 by mistake. Hate wasting food. Kenya stared at the sandwich. Then she picked it up and ate it in 4 bites, trying to look casual. Failing. Marcus pretended not to notice. This became routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Marcus would bring food. Bought too much. Coffee shop messed up my order. Trying to cut back, you want this? Kenya never acknowledged it directly. But she always ate. 6 weeks in, Marcus asked, what's the pattern recognition project for? Kenya looked up from the screen. Why? Just curious. You've been working on it every session. She was quiet for a moment. Then, it's for predicting which kids in foster care are going to age out without placement. Marcus went very still. What? The system loses kids. They disappear into group homes or shelters or the streets, and nobody tracks them properly. I'm building an algorithm that identifies warning signs early. So social workers know who needs intervention before it's too late. Kenya, that's... Marcus couldn't finish the sentence. It's not done yet. The prediction accuracy is only at 76%. Needs to be at least 85% to be useful. How do you know what accuracy rate is useful? I called the Department of Children and Family Services. Asked a social worker. Marcus stared at her. 12 years old. Living in a shelter. Building machine learning algorithms to save kids like herself. Can I see the code? Kenya turned the laptop. Marcus read through it. His hands started shaking. This wasn't just good. This was revolutionary. The algorithm used publicly available data, court records, school attendance, medical visits, and cross-referenced patterns with outcomes. It was elegant, efficient, and if it worked, it could change the entire foster care system. Kenya, This is incredible. She shrugged. It's not done. Do you know what this could be worth? I don't care about worth. I care about it working. Marcus sat back. How long have you been in foster care? Kenya's jaw tightened. I'm not. The shelter? Since January. Me and my mom. She lost her job, we lost our apartment. She works nights at a warehouse now, trying to save up for a deposit on a new place. Where's your dad? Gone. Since I was 4. Marcus nodded slowly. My dad left when I was 6. My mom worked 3 jobs. I learned to code because the library had free computer time, and it was somewhere to go after school where I wasn't alone. Kenya looked at him differently then. You didn't always have money. No, I didn't. He paused. Kenya, I want to help with your algorithm. Not take it over. Just provide resources. My company has engineers, data scientists. If you want. Why? Because what you're building matters. And because I wish someone had helped me when I was your age. Kenya stared at the table. If I let you help, I still own it. It's still mine. Absolutely. We'll put it in writing. Okay. That Thursday, Marcus brought his lead engineer, Priya Sharma, to the library. Priya was 29, brilliant, and had a background in social impact technology. Marcus had briefed her. There's a 12-year-old who's built something remarkable. I need you to look at it and tell me if I'm crazy. Priya sat down with Kenya and reviewed the code for 30 minutes. When she looked up, her eyes were wide. This is publication-worthy, Priya said quietly. This could be presented at academic conferences. How long have you been coding? 2 years. 2 years. Priya looked at Marcus. She's entirely self-taught? Yes. Priya turned back to Kenya. I'd like to help you refine this. With your permission, I can introduce you to some datasets that aren't publicly available. Partner with DCFS to get real outcome data. Would you be open to that? Kenya nodded slowly. Over the next 2 months, something extraordinary happened. Kenya came to the library 4 days a week now. Marcus had arranged it with the shelter, told them Kenya was in an educational mentorship program. Which was true. Priya would meet with her twice a week. They'd work through the algorithm together, refining variables, testing edge cases, improving accuracy. By May, the prediction accuracy had hit 89%. Marcus had been watching from a distance, providing resources but staying hands-off. This was Kenya's project. Her vision. But then Priya came to his office, looking shaken. We need to talk about the algorithm, Priya said. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. It's working. Better than working. Priya pulled up a laptop, showed him test results. We ran it against 5 years of historical DCFS data. It predicted with 91% accuracy which kids would age out of the system without permanent placement. Marcus stared at the numbers. That's incredible. It's more than incredible. It's going to save lives. But Marcus, there's interest. What kind of interest? I mentioned the project to a friend at the Gates Foundation. Just casually. She told her supervisor. Now their education division wants a meeting. Marcus sat up straighter. When? Next week. They're flying someone out from D.C. Marcus called Kenya that evening. He'd gotten her a phone 2 weeks ago. For coordinating schedules, he'd said. Kenya had accepted it without comment. Kenya, it's Marcus. Can you talk? Yeah. The Gates Foundation wants to meet about your algorithm. Silence. Kenya? What does that mean? It means they're interested in funding it, potentially implementing it nationwide. More silence. Are you okay? Marcus asked. Why do they care? Because what you built works. Because it could help thousands of kids. I didn't build it for money. I know. But money means resources. Means making it real. Kenya was quiet for a long moment. I'll meet with them. The meeting was at Marcus's office. Kenya had never been there before. She walked into the Neural Path AI headquarters in South Lake Union and stopped in the lobby, staring up at the glass atrium, the living wall of plants, the employees walking past with expensive laptops and casual confidence. You work here? She asked Marcus. Yeah. It's nice. It's excessive, Marcus said. But the engineers like it. They took the elevator to the 10th floor. Conference room with a view of Lake Union. Dr. Sarah Tomlinson from the Gates Foundation was waiting. White woman, early 50s, warm smile. You must be Kenya, Dr. Tomlinson said, standing. I've been very excited to meet you. Kenya shook her hand awkwardly. They sat. Priya pulled up the algorithm on the large screen. For the next hour, Kenya walked Dr. Tomlinson through how it worked. Her voice was quiet but steady. She explained the data inputs, the weighting system, the prediction model. Dr. Tomlinson asked detailed questions. Kenya answered every one. Finally, Dr. Tomlinson sat back. Kenya, this is some of the most impressive work I've seen in years. And I've reviewed projects from PhD candidates and tenured professors. Kenya said nothing. We'd like to fund a pilot program, Dr. Tomlinson continued. Partner with DCFS in Washington State to implement this in 3 counties. See how it performs in real-world conditions. If it works, and I believe it will, we'd scale it nationally. How much would that cost? Kenya asked. For the pilot? About $2.3 million. For national implementation, closer to $40 million over 5 years. Kenya's face went carefully blank. But that's our investment, Dr. Tomlinson said quickly. What I need to know is whether you'd be willing to partner with us. You'd retain ownership of the algorithm. We'd simply license it. License it for how much? Dr. Tomlinson smiled. That's negotiable. But our standard licensing fee for something of this scope and impact would be approximately $10 million. The room went silent. Marcus watched Kenya's face. She wasn't celebrating. She looked terrified. I need to think about it, Kenya said quietly. Of course, take your time. After Dr. Tomlinson left, Kenya sat in the conference room, staring at the table. You okay? Marcus asked. $10 million. Yeah. That's not real. It's real. Kenya looked up at him. What do I do with $10 million? Marcus pulled up a chair. Whatever you want. But Kenya, this isn't just about money. This is about kids like you getting help before they fall through the cracks. That's what matters. My mom works at a warehouse making $14 an hour. We live in a shelter. And someone wants to give me $10 million for code I wrote at a library. You didn't just write code. You solved a problem that nobody else solved. You deserve this. Kenya's hands were shaking. I don't know what to do. You don't have to decide today. Think about it. Talk to your mom. Kenya nodded slowly. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Kenya's face when Dr. Tomlinson said $10 million. The fear. The disbelief. He'd felt that way once. When NeuralPath got its first major investment. When he realized his life was about to change completely and irrevocably. It was terrifying. The next morning, Marcus got the call from his CFO. Marcus, you need to check your account. Right now. Marcus opened his banking app. The business account showed an overnight deposit. $10.2 million. From Gates Foundation Ventures. The transaction memo. Payment for algorithm number 7749. Developed by K. Williams. Age 12. Marcus's phone rang immediately. Dr. Tomlinson. Marcus, I apologize for the confusion. We processed the payment last night. Kenya signed the licensing agreement. She what? She came to our office at 7 p.m. with her mother. Said she'd made her decision. We finalized the contract. The money should have gone to her account, but she listed your business as the recipient. Is that an error? Marcus's mind was racing. I don't know. Let me call you back. He tried Kenya's phone. No answer. He drove to the shelter. Asked for Kenya Williams at the front desk. She's not here, the intake worker said. She and her mother checked out this morning. What? Where did they go? I can't give out that information. Marcus stood in the lobby, panic rising. Kenya had signed away $10 million, transferred it to his company, and disappeared. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Chen, this is Lydia Williams, Kenya's mother. We need to talk. Can you come to this address? She sent a location. An apartment complex in Northgate. Marcus drove there going 20 over the speed limit. Unit 214. He knocked. Lydia Williams opened the door. Black woman, late 30s, exhausted eyes, wearing scrubs. Mr. Chen. Come in. The apartment was small but clean. 2 bedrooms. Furnished. Kenya sat on the couch, looking nervous. What's going on? Marcus asked. Why did you transfer the money to my account? Kenya looked at her mother. Lydia nodded. I want you to start a foundation, Kenya said quietly. For kids in foster care and homeless youth. I want the $10 million to fund it. Marcus sat down slowly. Kenya, that's your money. I don't need $10 million. We need a place to live and food and my mom not to work nights. The Gates Foundation is paying me $200,000 a year as a consultant while they implement the algorithm. That's more than enough. $200,000 and $10 million are very different. I know. Kenya's voice was firm. But $10 million can help hundreds of kids. Kids who are where I was 4 months ago. That matters more. Marcus looked at Lydia. You're okay with this? Lydia smiled, tears in her eyes. She's 12 going on 40. I stopped trying to change her mind about things when she was 6. Marcus turned back to Kenya. If I do this, you're on the board. You help decide how the money gets used. Okay. And Kenya? You just gave away $10 million to help people you've never met. That's extraordinary. You let a random kid use your laptop for 9 months because you knew what it felt like to not have resources. That's the same thing. Marcus's throat tightened. Not quite the same. Close enough. 6 months later, the Williams Foundation launched. Marcus served as chairman. Kenya and Lydia were board members. The foundation provided 3 key services. Technology education for homeless youth. Free laptops, internet access, coding classes. Emergency housing assistance. Grants to families at risk of homelessness. Foster care navigation. Case workers who helped kids aging out of the system. First-year budget, $2.8 million. Kids served, 340. Families kept in housing, 47. Foster youth connected to resources, 89. The algorithm went live in 3 Washington counties in September. Within 2 months, social workers identified 23 at-risk youth who would have been missed by traditional screening. Interventions started immediately. By December, CNN ran a feature, 12-year-old coder revolutionizes foster care system. The reporter interviewed Kenya in the library where she'd met Marcus. What made you want to build this? The reporter asked. I didn't want other kids to disappear, Kenya said simply. The system loses people. I wanted to make sure someone was paying attention. What are you going to do with the money from the licensing deal? I gave it away. Started a foundation. You gave away $10 million? It wasn't mine to keep. It belonged to every kid who needs help. The interview went viral. 4.3 million views in 3 days. 3 more states contacted the Gates Foundation about implementing the algorithm. Kenya got scholarship offers from MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. Full rides. For when she was old enough to attend. But she stayed in Seattle. Enrolled in a gifted program at a local high school. Kept working on new algorithms. Marcus visited her every Tuesday and Thursday. Still brought breakfast. Still let her use his laptop, even though she had her own now. Old habits, he said. Kenya smiled. Good habits. 1 year after the Gates Foundation meeting, Marcus stood in front of 200 people at the Williams Foundation Gala. Donors, board members, families who'd been helped. Kenya sat at a table with her mother, wearing a dress Lydia had bought her. She looked uncomfortable but present. Marcus began his speech. 15 months ago, I met a 12-year-old girl in a library. She was using a computer from 2009, teaching herself to code from YouTube videos, and building something that would change thousands of lives. He paused. I didn't help Kenya Williams. She didn't need my help. What I did was get out of her way. Give her tools and then watch her do something I never could have imagined. Marcus looked at Kenya. This foundation exists because a child who had every reason to focus on her own survival chose instead to focus on saving others. Because a girl with nothing decided that nothing was still something worth sharing. The room applauded. Kenya looked down at her hands. We've served 847 young people this year, Marcus continued. We've kept 112 families in housing. We've connected 203 foster youth to resources. And we're just getting started. He pulled up a slide. A map of the United States with red pins. Next year, the algorithm goes national. 47 states. Protecting kids before they fall through the cracks. More applause. But I want to end with this, Marcus said. Kenya, can you come up here? Kenya shook her head quickly. Marcus smiled. Please. Reluctantly, Kenya stood. Walked to the stage. Marcus handed her the microphone. She stared at the crowd. 200 people watching her. Waiting. I don't like speeches, she said. Her voice was quiet but carried. But Mr. Chen asked me to say why I built the algorithm. She took a breath. When you're homeless, you're invisible. People look through you. They cross the street. They pretend you're not there. It makes you wonder if you're real. The room was silent. Mr. Chen didn't do that. He saw me. Not because he wanted something. Just because he decided I was worth seeing. And that changed everything. Kenya looked at Marcus. I built the algorithm so other kids wouldn't be invisible. So the system would have to pay attention. Because everyone deserves to be seen. She handed the microphone back and walked off stage quickly. The applause started slow, then grew. People stood. Some were crying. Marcus watched Kenya sit back down next to her mother. Watched Lydia put an arm around her daughter's shoulders. After the gala, Marcus drove Kenya and Lydia home. The same apartment in Northgate. They'd chosen to stay there. It's enough, Lydia had said. We don't need more. At the door, Kenya turned back. Mr. Chen. Yeah. Thank you. For the laptop. For everything. Thank you for teaching me what actually matters. Kenya smiled. A real smile. Rare and genuine. Then she went inside. Marcus sat in his car for a moment, staring at the building. A year ago, he'd been a lonely CEO with everything and nothing. Now he had purpose. Because a 12-year-old girl had shown him that the only thing worth building was something that helped people be seen. 3 years later, the algorithm was in all 50 states. Kenya Williams was 15, finishing high school early, already taking college courses at University of Washington. The Williams Foundation had grown. $18 million in assets. Served over 4,000 youth. Marcus had stepped down as CEO of NeuralPath AI. Devoted himself full-time to the foundation. One Tuesday morning, because Tuesdays were still their day, Marcus met Kenya at the library. Same table where they'd first sat together. Working on anything new? He asked. Kenya turned her laptop. Predictive algorithm for identifying domestic violence before it escalates. Using hospital visits, police calls, school counselor reports. Marcus read through the code. His hands started shaking. How long have you been working on this? 6 months. Kenya, this is incredible. It's not done yet. Accuracy is only at 81%. Marcus smiled. You said that about the last one. Because it's true. They sat in comfortable silence. Kenya coding. Marcus answering foundation emails. At noon, Kenya closed her laptop. Same time Thursday? Marcus asked. Always. She left. Marcus watched her go. 15 years old. A full-ride scholarship to MIT waiting for her. Algorithms that were saving lives. All because he'd offered a laptop to a kid who looked like she needed it. Sometimes the smallest act of seeing someone creates a ripple that changes everything. Marcus packed up his things and walked out of the library. The sky was clear. Seattle spread out below, full of people. Some visible. Some invisible. He'd spent his whole life trying to build something that mattered. Turned out, it had been sitting 2 tables away the whole time. The Williams Foundation has now served over 4,000 youth across all 50 states. Kenya's algorithm has identified and helped intervene for 2,847 at-risk children who would have otherwise been missed by the system. Marcus Chen continues to serve as foundation chairman. Kenya Williams is currently studying computer science at MIT on a full scholarship. She's 18 years old. What small act of seeing someone will you choose today? Someone near you is invisible, waiting for one person to notice. Let us know in the comments what you'll do. If this story moved you, click like and subscribe.